Hey everybody, Shoebox Legends here. Thanks for joining me today for another installment of Slab and Gab here on the channel. These are brief episodes where we take a look at a graded card or two from my collection and talk about it a little bit, or talk about them a little bit in this case, because we have a pair of cards today I was able to bring home recently via auction on eBay from the same seller. They are vintage hockey cards from the 1950s. Which you don't see all that often, I feel like. Most hockey collectors seem to be on the modern side of the house. I really enjoy the whole span of hockey cards going all the way back to, more than 100 years ago now. These are not quite that old, but they are both from the 1954-55 Parkhurst set. And I got them for two different reasons. They were both cheap, like under $25. And the first one I got just because it looks beautiful. So check this one out. This is card number 49 on the checklist. Goaltender Jim Henry of the Boston Bruins. What sold me on this, other than the fact that I'd love to eventually own every Parkhurst, 1950s hockey card at some point in my collecting adventure, was the image. Like, this is just a fantastic shot. This is obviously from the, brown leather pads, no helmet, wooden stick era of, NHL hockey. Got card number 49 is bright and bold here on the front. That was something that Parkhurst did with a lot of their sets in the 50s, was the card number on the front of the card. But I just love the clean image. I love the way that it is, cropped on the card. I just think it is like a little vintage, work of art. It's just absolutely beautiful. The back of this is clean as well. It did get a PSA 4 for a grade. That seems to be like my go-to for, looks better than it should vintage. And yeah, just really clean. The centering is nice on this one as well. There's a little bit of corner wear, like you can see this top corner, and it's a 4. I mean, what do you expect? But it looks gorgeous. And, for a price point under $25, like, I just think this card has a tremendous amount of character and eye appeal. And it's just a really, really fun card. And that's what the hobby is supposed to be about. Here's the back. Nice and clean here. No paper loss or anything. A little bit of a flub on the lower left corner, and those are probably the reasons that this got a 4. Maybe a little bit of yellowing or tint to the cardstock as well, compared to the the nice bright white flip that you see there from PSA. But yeah, gorgeous card. Don't really know all that much about Jim Henry. I know I've looked him up in the past, years ago, because I do have another card or two of his, but I've long forgotten what I learned about the man. But I'll certainly be inspired to dig in a little bit more and learn about his history after I'm done recording this, having that card in the collection now. The other one that I got, while also aesthetically pleasing, it's not the reason that I picked it out. I picked it out because this is a card that kind of shows a little bit of maybe a negative aspect of the game that you could perceive as a negative aspect, which is something you don't really see, or that the league, I don't think, allows any longer. So this is from the action portion of the set, which comes at the end of the checklist. Rather than being individual player cards, they're in-action, or in-game action shots, I should say. And I was interested in this one because it is titled Harvey Takes a Nosedive. And you can see here that his opponent, for presumably Toronto, has tripped him, and he is going down flat on his face with no helmet on onto the ice. That's a very dangerous play there. We've got a referee in the background who's observing this and presumably going to call a penalty, at any moment here, about to put his hand up. I love, first of all, the artwork here is really cool. I think this is based on a photograph, but it then is somehow colorized to achieve this effect. But Parkhurst from this era reminds me a little bit of like Bowman on the baseball side of the house from this era. And I just think the art here is awesome. But I was intrigued by a card that shows, tripping as basically the subject of the card. I don't think that's something that you would really see nowadays. The NHL doesn't allow, fighting to be shown on cards, and really tries to, minimize any negativity, which is understandable. They have a brand to protect. So I just think it's neat that back in the 50s, they dedicated a whole card on the checklist to essentially the art of tripping. And you can see on the back here, Harvey takes a nosedive. We get a little write-up. The other thing that's cool about this, Doug Harvey is like one of the more underrated defensemen in hockey history, and certainly for the Canadians. Don't really have, I don't think, any playing era cardboard of his yet. And so this kind of half represents a Doug Harvey card, which is pretty cool. And it says here, he's seen taking a header to the ice after being tripped by Nesterenko of the Toronto Maple Leafs. So pretty crazy. I was joking around. I sent a picture of this to my buddy Eric over at Those Back Pages, and we were saying, you know, this may be a tripping rookie card, which is pretty neat. So there you have it. Two just beautiful looking cards from the 1950s. Love vintage hockey and really happy that I was able to scoop these up at a bargain in matching PSA 4 slabs. So that is going to conclude Slab and Gab for today's installment. I really appreciate everybody who stuck it out and checked these out over the last 6 minutes. Hope you're enjoying the hobby, and I will be back very soon. Take care.